Los Angeles, more than 50 years ago, long before security cameras on every corner, in a quiet residential neighborhood where the nights were still dark enough to hide secrets, there lived a man no one ever suspected would become a ghost story. He was known as Gentle, obedient, almost invisible. The kind of man who never raised his voice, who did exactly what his wife asked, who cooked, cleaned, worked, apologized, even when he was not wrong, because his wife was stunning, admired by everyone, spoken about like royalty, a woman people called a queen, and he believed loving her meant surrendering himself completely. He did her chores, her responsibilities, her burdens, not because he was weak, but because he trusted her, because he thought devotion would protect him. What he didn't know, what no one knew, was that betrayal had already entered the house and was quietly waiting for the right night to strike. The woman had another man, a lover who visited when her husband was away, someone who knew the layout of the house, the sound of the floors, the location of the bathroom, the weight of silence. And on a night when the air felt heavy and the water in the bathtub was filled higher than usual, they decided it was time. Neighbors later reported hearing nothing. No screams, no struggle, just running water for too long. And when authorities finally arrived, the death was labeled an accident, a tragic drowning, a man who slipped, a man who could not save himself. And the case was closed quickly, too quickly, because back then, questions were easy to bury. But what should have ended that night didn't end at all. Within days, the house began to change. Objects shifted on their own. The bed tilted violently in the middle of the night as if someone were pushing it from underneath. Doors shook without wind. The smell of damp water lingered in rooms that had never seen a leak. The wife began waking up nauseous, vomiting without reason, her body rejecting sleep, rejecting food, rejecting silence. She reported dreams that felt too real to be dreams. Her husband standing at the foot of the bed, soaked, eyes hollow, mouth opening, but no sound coming out until finally he whispered one sentence that made her wake up screaming every night. "I died the way you wanted. Now you'll live the way I decide." The boyfriend stopped visiting. He said the house felt wrong. He said he felt watched. He said mirrors showed shapes behind him that disappeared when he turned. The wife began hearing footsteps following her from room to room, always stopping when she stopped, always starting when she moved. And at night, the bathroom door would slowly open by itself, water dripping even when the taps were dry, as if the house remembered something she wanted to forget. Paranormal investigators who later studied the case described it as a classic post-betrayal haunting, one of the most violent forms of spiritual attachment, where a man who died not just painfully but knowingly, aware of who betrayed him, refused to leave. They believe such spirits do not wander randomly. They anchor themselves to guilt, to the people responsible, feeding on fear, illness, and psychological collapse. The wife's health deteriorated rapidly. She claimed to feel hands on her throat while sleeping, pressure on her chest, whispers inches from her ear telling her to remember the water. And the boyfriend reportedly suffered hallucinations of drowning, waking up gasping for air, lungs burning, convinced he was underwater. Neighbors began noticing lights flickering in the house, furniture moving, loud banging at night that sounded like fists hitting walls from inside. And yet, whenever police were called, everything was still, calm, untouched, as if the house itself knew when to hide. The most disturbing report came from a relative who stayed one night and described seeing a wet man standing in the hallway, dripping water onto the floor, staring silently into the bedroom where the wife slept. Not attacking, not speaking, just watching, waiting, patient in a way only the dead can be. Over time, the house became unbearable. The wife tried to leave, but every time she packed, objects fell, mirrors cracked, and she claimed to hear her husband's voice saying, "You didn't let me leave." According to records, she eventually suffered a mental breakdown and was institutionalized, while the boyfriend vanished from public record entirely, his whereabouts unknown. The house was abandoned, sealed, and later demolished. But even decades later, construction workers reported tools going missing, sudden waves of nausea, and dreams of drowning after working on the site. Experts believe the reason this case remains so disturbing is not just the haunting, but the motive. This was not a ghost born from confusion, but from awareness, from betrayal, from a man who understood exactly how and why he died and chose not to cross over. Because some spirits don't linger to scare strangers. They stay to punish the ones who thought they would never be held accountable. And if this story feels too detailed, too precise, too real to be fiction, that's because investigators say the most terrifying hauntings are not fueled by rage alone, but by loyalty that was broken, love that was abused, and trust that became a weapon. So remember this the next time you hear water running in an empty house, or wake up feeling watched, or dream of someone you wronged standing silently in the dark. Because some men don't become ghosts by accident. They become ghosts because someone made sure they couldn't leave. I with devil face.